Okay.
First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Billy Lambert. This is my son, little Billy Lambert. And today we're making this video to tell one of the best, I guess you could say, coaches, men, father figures, you name it. Happy 75th birthday. Even though he only looks 25, he's 75. And it's been a while since I've got a chance to talk about him. He gets emotional every time we do. But Mr. Norai, which I call Coach Norai, and my son calls Coach Norai, even though he's only met him once. We'll get to that a little bit later. First of all, Fred, Coach, we want to tell you happy birthday from the bottom of our hearts, from the bottom of this whole town's heart, and from the bottom of every person that's ever either heard you talk, shook your hand that you've held on to for 20 minutes the whole time you're telling them, or just been a part of anything you do. This isn't scripted. This isn't nothing. This is just from the bottom of our hearts. We want to tell you happy birthday. And I personally would like to tell a story of when we were 12 years old. You know, Micah, John Clark, Chris Dennis, Rasan Lindsay, Matt Wade, Freddie Cranford, Justin Burnett, you name it. This is just one story to 1,000 that we would all have to say. But my favorite Fred Norai story is this. He always made me feel like the whole world counted on you, the same as he made everyone feel. And he brought out the best in everybody, even when things in life weren't going the way they were supposed to as a kid. You know, as a kid, you don't know what's going on around your household and things like that. But when you got to ball practice or you got to a game, you didn't worry about that. All you knew was you had a man over there that was willing to do whatever he had to do to make you feel so wanted and so part of something that to this day, 30 years later, 33 years, whatever it is, I still try to install that in my son and in work and this life. So a funny story about Fred is that everybody that knows Fred, he might have just a small dose of an attitude, if that's what you call it. But today his coaching tactics would probably get him sent to death row. Just kidding. But really I'm not. Because there aren't Fred Norais anymore. And when I mean death row is because discipline was a must. Dedication was a must. Working your hardest was a must. And emotion was a must. With that being said, I can remember one time we were playing, I think it was Assumption. I think it was Assumption. And this team, they've been on us. And I'm trying not to cuss. Because every time I talk about Fred, it's hard not to. Because I cuss the way Fred cusses. Which is a good cuss. There's a bad cuss and there's a good cuss. Fred's got good cussing. Only time. And so here's the deal. I'm on third base, nobody out. Micah Norai's up. All he has to do is hit a ball. We win the game. Fred's coaching third. But you got to understand, when Fred coaches third, he just ain't coaching third. He's coaching first. He's coaching the dugout. He's coaching the fans. He's coaching their team. He's coaching his kids in the dugout. And he's coaching our parents in the dugout. But all I knew, I just had to get to home to win this game. Micah's up. And when I talk about Micah, I'll make this real short and sweet. He's the best teammate, best fundamental knowledge of the game. Just 100% the word teammate is Micah Norai. And that's obvious where he's at. And it come from where he came from. And I mean that in the utmost respect you can say. But now back to being on third base with Mike up and nobody out in the bottom of the sixth. Because back then, that's all we played was 6 innings. But if it was up to Fred, we'd have played 66 innings. But anyway, I'm on third. Fred tells me, nobody down, tag up. I've done this a million times. Micah, pitch comes in, hits it, hits a decent shot out to left field. So what do? Old 24 takes off running home. I forgot one little thing, to tag up. Well, as I'm running home, I get halfway down the base and I feel something come across my neck, kind of like a grizzly bear. It was Coach Norhide. I forgot one thing, to tag up. But Fred made sure I tagged up because he grabbed me by my belt loop, drug me back to third, and I tagged up, I think, maybe with my foot or my forehead. I can't remember it this time. And then I was pushed halfway to home, ran home, slid in. There's a play at the plate. We won the game. But I promise you this much. I've never in my life forgot to tag up, lock the keys to my house. My son will never not forget to tag up. But to this day, every single play when I coach, my kids know how many outs there was. I knew how many outs there was in that game. But that's just one thing and one story that Fred had to every one of us. And it was such an honor that got to happen to us every day. And my son knows all about him. We talk about him in his house like my son's prayed for. But there's one thing about it. I'm sorry. If there was more Fred Norheiser around this world, it would not be in the position it's in. That man has touched so many people's lives. And, all right. And we would not know baseball to this day the way that we knew it. Because it's only played. Daggone it, Micah. It's only played one way. And it's played the way I was taught. That's the way I teach it. And that's the way it is. And Coach Nor, I want to tell you, for me and my son and my family, thank you for everything. And now I've got that out. The reason why my son is sitting here decked out in Chicago Cubs, turn around and show Schwarber on his back, is because the first time I met, well, I didn't meet him. I took my son to meet Fred. We was at a minis game, and he came to watch Kyle Schwarber perform at halftime. I think it was Grease or something with John Travolta at halftime. And I said, "What are you doing here, Fred?" He said, "I came down here to watch that cat out there dance." And I said, "Who's that?" He said, "That cat out there." I said, "Well, Fred, I don't see no cats out there." He said, "I'm talking about that Schwarber boy." I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "Let me tell you something, Billy. That boy right there hits a baseball like he chops down logs." Well, I had never seen him play. Well, I tell you right now, we know everything about him. Kyle Schwarber's a middie. He believes in middie just like we do. There's always something middie on us. And I teach my son that as long as you try your hardest, and it don't matter what you do, if you put the right people around you, success is at the end of that road. And Fred, you have taught us all that. And I've been through my hardships in life, and I have fell and fell and fell. But you are what people need in their life to this day. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you're talked about in this house, and you're talked about in my practice.
I just can't say it how you said it, but all I do is say what you said, and that's why I love coaching. I just want to tell you, Fred, happy birthday. The Lambert family worships you, and I can't tell you how much you've been a part of all of our lives. This is just me, but thank you. Happy birthday, Fred, and thank you for everything you've done. Love you, man.